Hello, boys and girls. Dee Mitchell here, and I want to talk to you about something that all good readers do. When we're reading informational text, we really need strategies that help us to gather the information that we're looking for and understand it. So, one thing that we can do is to synthesize the information that we get. And that simply means to put together information from different parts of a text to see the author's ideas in new ways. So as you're reading, you are gathering information, and then you will stop and think to yourself, okay, so what does all of this mean? What do all these little pieces of information mean when I really stop and think about them as a whole, when I put them together? It is almost as if you are putting together a puzzle, as we see here in the anchor chart. So we are going to synthesize today. We're going to read through an informational text. We are going to stop and think about all of the pieces of information that we're getting, and we will put them together to see what they really mean. What is the big idea that the author really wants me to come away with after I've read this text? So before we get into our text, I think it's a good idea that we use this graphic organizer to help us really keep track of those pieces of information that we're going to gather. And then we can write down what our thoughts are after we've really thought about what we've read, and just make note of what we think the big idea is. What does it all mean to us? Okay, so the text that we're going to read today is called Don't Touch Me by Elizabeth Preston. And so I'm seeing here some leaves from a plant. I noticed that all of the letters are in caps. So that means it's something that is I should really be paying attention to. It's something that is really a big deal. Don't touch me. So it makes me think some of these plants might even be dangerous to me. I don't know. Let's go on and read. Plants can't run away from hungry animals, so some of them fight back. They have defenses to keep creatures from eating them. These plants can scratch you or stab you. Some of them can make you sick. Others make you itch like crazy. Don't get too close or you'll be sorry. Wow. So I think what I was thinking about the text, it's really starting to make sense now. Here, the author is telling me that some plants can make me sick, can make me itch, right? Can be dangerous to me, or animals. So let's read on to see how this actually happens. Do you have a rose bush in your yard? Then you know these pretty flowers are better for sniffing than touching. Roses have sharp prickles on their stems. Some other plants, like the hawthorn, have woody thorns. So here, let's take a look at this picture of this rose. It is beautiful, but if we look at the stem, we can certainly see those sharp pricklies. And I myself know I've had an encounter with a rose and its thorns. It's unpleasant, it hurts. So I can imagine this is how the rose defends itself against some animal that might want to eat it or touch it. Let's read on. And beautiful holly leaves have very sharp points. Holly leaves and berries have extra protection. They're poisonous. Oh my goodness. So here, this beautiful plant that we probably recognize from the Christmas season is actually poisonous. Wow. So it has, not only is it poisonous, but look at the leaves. They are Sharp and pointy. So this plant has a couple of ways of protecting itself. So again, let me go back to this first page. Plants can't run away from hungry animals, so some of them fight back. They have defenses to keep creatures from eating them. So we've just read about two ways that plants, three ways that plants can protect themselves. Um, so I'm starting to, again, think about these pieces of information that I'm getting. And I think that it's time that we kind of look at our graphic organizer. And I've recorded this. Roses have sharp prickles. We read a little bit more. We read about the holly plant, and you could choose to write that down on the graphic organizer. I've also written the title of our text. And so, again, I've recorded something that I think is important. And again, as you read on, you will continue to add pieces of information and then stop and really think about how they all fit together. What is this, what is the pattern? What is something that you keep seeing or reading about? What does this all mean? What is the big picture? So as you read on, capture those pieces of important details, important information, record them on your graphic organizer, and then stop and think how they all fit together. Okay, what does it all mean? What is the big picture? So again, boys and girls, today we've talked about synthesizing. To synthesize is when you look at all of the pieces of information that you've encountered through the text and you put it together to understand the author's ideas. Okay, you come away with what the author wanted you to understand in the first place. It does take some time, because after you've read, you will need to stop and think about what you've read. And that's something that good readers do all of the time. Okay. And so after you read, stop and think about what you've read, put it together and ask yourself, what is the big picture? What does this all mean to me? And you have a better understanding of what you've read. All right. So happy reading, boys and girls.